Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and it's time for a little sit down video because I'm going to be talking about a few tips and tricks how to save when you are prepping for an Ironman race or a half Ironman. Or really even a triathlon in general, because it's a pretty expensive hobby slash sport. So there are a few things I've learned along the way to help you save. Now, the first one is, we're going to start with the most expensive part of it. It's definitely the cycling. It requires the most amount of gear, and the bike is a big investment. Now, there's a lot of confusion when you first get into cycling. There is two bikes that people get confused whether they should purchase, and that is the TT bike. So the difference between a TT bike and a road bike is basically the way that the whole bike is set up. So the frame, and then you will have an aero position on a TT bike. These are a TT, short for time trial. They are made for flat, long distances. A road bike is generally made more for winds and climbs. You can go the distance, but you're not going to be as aerodynamic or as fast. If I was to choose, if you had to pick one, I would go for a road bike. Now, basically what I did, because I was umming and ahhing, TT bike is really good. If you're doing a full Ironman, you want to be comfortably sitting in that aero position with your forearms down. Road bike, you only have the drop, so your back can get really tired, and your neck as well. So what you can do is you can get clip-on aero bars. These are an absolute must. If you are looking to save money and you just want to get a bike that you can do your training on, but maybe you want to keep cycling because you enjoy it. A time trial bike, you're not going to be able to really do group rides. You're not going to be able to do great hill climbs. It's really great for speed, but besides triathlon, it's not that great. So having clip-ons is definitely the way to go to save money. Just having one bike. I can show you what I've done with my bike, where I've taken my trusty road bike that I purchased. I had a different handlebar put on so I could get clip-on aero bars, and they managed to connect all my electronic gearing, and it is perfect. It looks amazing, it looks super clean, and it has saved me so much money. And I only have to have one bike instead of two, because that is a lot. So that is what I would do. Now, something to bear in mind is, if you purchase in Australia, if you purchase a bike older than 5 years, you're not going to be able to get that insured. So my first purchase was a second-hand road bike, and that wasn't able to be insured because it was older than 5 years old. So when I had an accident on the bike, and it was unfortunately unusable after that, so we had to can it. My new bike is insured, and that is, it is the 2025 edition. Now, you definitely don't have to get a brand new bike. There are plenty of good secondhand options. You just want to make sure the bike hasn't been in a crash, especially if it is a carbon fiber frame. Now, my second tip for saving is, you don't need a lot of running shoes. You actually only need one good pair. So I definitely recommend investing in a really good pair of running shoes, not just for your comfort, but also for performance too. Some people like to have different shoes for their interval sessions versus their long runs, and that's amazing if you can do that, but it is quite expensive. You can go through shoes quite fast. I would recommend one really good pair. I run in the Glycerin 22s from Brooks. I really love them. I think they're a great shoe all round for all of my sessions. Now, what I'm doing is, closer to my race, I'm investing in a more expensive carbon plated, more cushiony shoe, but I'm only running in it about 3 times before my big day. That is because the foam of the shoe is the most responsive when it's newer. So I have to wear in the shoe, get used to it on my foot, get used to it on my body first, so hence the 2-3 runs beforehand. I want that foam to be super responsive for my big day, as it is a marathon distance run. So that is something to bear in mind. Make sure your soles of your shoes are not worn out, because you will feel that impact on your joints. Now, for swimming, it's actually quite an affordable sport. All you really need is a good pair of goggles, a swimsuit, you can wear that again and again. And a pool fee to get in, or find an open water body, lake or ocean. I swim in an ocean and a lake quite a lot. It's free, and also it's really good practice for your Ironman. Open water swimming, it's always open water, so getting that practice in is super valuable, and I find it way more interesting than a pool. One thing I absolutely do recommend is keeping your goggles rinsed after every session. That keeps them nice and fresh. It stops the chlorine damaging them. All your swimwear and all your products that you use in the water should be rinsed afterwards, just to make sure all that chlorine is off, because that will make them deteriorate a lot faster. So that is another way you can be saving money. Now, this fourth tip that I have is a bit of a strange one, but it actually is something that's really expensive, and at the time you're like, oh okay, this is a lot of fun, but it adds up, and that is traveling a long distance to do Ironman. When I did my half, I traveled over the other side of the country, and it was an experience, definitely, but very expensive. To take your bike over there, the extra luggage, accommodation, then your cost of your Ironman, all of that, it makes it a very expensive trip / day. So if you're trying to save money on doing one, I definitely would pick an Ironman closer to you. I'm doing my local Ironman in December, so I'm very excited to not have to fly me and my bike all the way over. As far as nutrition goes, there are so many supplements and items you can be taking to help with your performance, and absolutely should never skimp on these. But there's definitely every single brand under the sun trying to sell you the next best thing, and I like to keep it pretty basic with a basic electrolyte when I'm on the bike. I don't really need to take electrolytes when I'm swimming. It's not that far and I'm not really sweating. And then when I run, I like to drink some beforehand, sometimes after, but I am fueling constantly, and gels are a really good way to do this on your longer distances that you do. I don't so much use them on my short ones. I can usually just have a banana or have some rice cakes or something else, maybe a, like, what are those bars called? Cliff Bar as well. There are definitely other ways to get your carbohydrates in that are not gels. Gels can be really expensive. If you do buy them, buying them in bulk is definitely the way to go. And yeah, finding a brand that is a reasonable price. Learning to take gels is really important, so don't skip out on that, because your body needs to learn how to consume that form of carbohydrates whilst you're completing the exercise and the activity. Otherwise, it might make you feel very strange on the day if you just switch to that. Is this 5 or 6? I can't quite remember. Lol. Another tip that I have is joining your city's triathlon group on Facebook, so you can buy and sell products on there at a way cheaper cost. There are things that cost a lot of money, like wetsuits that people are getting rid of after they've done a triathlon, or maybe it just didn't fit them right. So that is definitely the place to go. Sometimes investing in a nice quality wetsuit is a really good idea, just because they're not going to break, and it's really annoying getting holes in your wetsuit. Don't forget to always wear your gloves when you put them on. Finding your local triathlon page and asking people on there or seeing what's available is definitely another money saver for any item, really. People are selling everything: watches, wetsuits, swim stuff, all sorts, so definitely get on that. Now, whilst we're on the topic of watches, that leads me to my extra money saving tip. You do not need a Garmin Phoenix to be a triathlete. It is a very much nice to have. I have a very basic Garmin. The battery life is really good. My only problem with this one is it doesn't track open water swimming, so what I do is I actually just set a timer, and then I know that I can swim approximately 1 kilometer in this amount of time, and then when it beeps, I then just go back or something like that. But it does my pool, which is what I want, most of my laps. It tracks my running and my cycling as well. So yeah, this really does everything I need to do. Super fine. I would love to give you so many more tips on how I save money and how to save money during triathlon preparation, but unfortunately the fact is it is a very expensive hobby. There are definitely ways to do it on a budget. You don't need the fanciest equipment. If you're there to just do it once, have a good time, you kind of just can use whatever you have, whatever you can make do. Some people are not even swimming in a wetsuit. Sometimes it's not even the right temperature for a wetsuit and you can't swim with it anyway. So there's definitely ways around. On the big ticket items for sure, like a bike, clip-ons, game changer. Oh my gosh, I almost forgot such an important tip. Don't get consumed with the brand of your bike. This is one thing. When I first got stuck into cycling, I was so certain that I had to ride a Cervelo or an S-Works or something. And I actually did have a Cervelo for my first bike before the accident, and I was really proud of that. But when I bought my new bike, I actually found out with the research that I did that for the money that I was going to spend for like a baseline Cervelo, if I invested that into a lesser known brand that was less cool, I could get something way better. So I have a Meriden now and I love it. It's an amazing bike. The performance and handling is superb. I'm so happy with this bike. I wouldn't have had that level of bike if I had spent that money on a bigger brand name. So definitely make sure you don't get stuck into the brand names. I know it's really, really hard. You see all the cool ones on Instagram. It's a bike, and does the brand mean that it's going to be better? Not necessarily. You just need to do your research on the bike, figure out what is going to work for you and your budget. That's probably it from me, guys. Honestly, that's kind of like all that I could think about money saving. I have only been doing this for a few years, so haven't become an expert by any means, but these are just the tips and tricks that I've learned that have saved me money and the decisions that I have made to help me out along the way, because it is such an expensive hobby, and you can get really consumed with all the latest and greatest gear. There is everything out there to make your racing experience better, but at the end of the day, all the training that you put in will really dictate the outcome, not the gear that you have. So that is really important to remember, and just to have a good time, because nobody else is looking at what you're wearing or what bike you're riding. I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.